Yeah, I'm supposed to be somebody who lost control of their life.
Okay. You certainly look like that with that lip choice. And I am esteemed restaurateur, Hampton's homeowner, fabulously wealthy, Ina Garten. Welcome everybody to the Victory Lap. My name is Yvonnedeculo.
And I'm Jay Gloom.
And welcome to episode 2, where we will be discussing Snatch Game of All-Stars Season 2 of
Rupaul'S Drag Race.
So this is Snatch Game. I'm so excited for the Snatch Game.
Early. She came early.
It's it's on par with the last All-Stars, although let's all be grateful and throw up a silent prayer that there was no Rupaul'S Gaffin. Thank you, Divine. Did you enjoy that we actually had one, or would you have rather had a different type of challenge based on celebrity impersonation?
As long as it wasn't the Gaffin, I'm happy. The Gaffin was like cool. Like I could see where they were going with it.
It was very Muppets.
It was very Muppets. It was very Entertainment Tonight. I am very glad to have Snatch Game back. I think Snatch Game is...
It's hashtag iconic.
It's iconic. It's an integral part of the Drag Race pantheon.
And we just got off of Coco leaving. Coco should have stayed, and I'm wishing that Adore had just walked out on the main stage during episode 1, because we had this big breakdown and Adore left. And, you know, a lot of the queens have talked about it afterwards that Adore was having a lot of problems right before. So I think that Adore should have never even said yes to coming onto Drag Race.
Yeah, everybody got angry at her about it, and I don't think that's fair. I'm sad that Adore left, and I'm sorry that, you know, it was really hard for her, but I'm not mad that she came, like...
I think that she took somebody's spot that should have been there instead. If she was already feeling doubt about being there in the first place, she should have never taken the call.
Sure, but to be completely honest, there's not a lot of queens from the Pantheon that I think would hold up against this group.
There was no mini challenge this episode, but I think the real mini challenge was Michelle getting on her bronzer and running down the street as she was about to meet Adore, just like caking it on, harsh lines, stuck on some sunglasses, and was like, this is the look. So Snatch Game. This was a pretty good Snatch Game. Everybody who did bad in their seasons kind of did really well this time around. The people who did really well in their seasons did not so great. The only one I think who really stayed consistent and got better was Alaska.
No, I thought this was a great Snatch Game. I really enjoyed it.
Too.
I enjoyed it a lot. I was amused by nearly everybody. There were only 2 disappointments to me.
Who was your least favorite in the Snatch Game?
In the Snatch Game, my least favorite was Roxy.
Like, Tatiana didn't do a great job, but I thought her look was at least spot on, and it was enough to make me believe it.
And here's the thing, her look, Tatiana's look was spot on, and she had the voice. She just didn't have the witty comebacks. But then cut over to Roxy, who literally just looked like crap.
And she's friends with Alaska. She should be able to have that characterization.
She was deadpan the whole time, and she didn't really have the voice. She didn't have any comment. Like, she was just all around awful. And I don't understand Detox being in the bottom either, because, I mean, Detox's Nancy Grace was way better than Acid Betty's.
I think they had just come off of season 8, and they were like, we really hated this Snatch Game character. I hate it no matter what. And even though she actually looked like Nancy Grace, I think they were just like, no more.
I honestly, to me, like, if I was going to pick who is going to go home for this episode, I would have picked Roxy.
I would have picked Roxy too, because she knows Alaska. Her impression should have been spot on because of that. They're friends. RuPaul was throwing a billion jokes, and even a casual viewer of Alaska, someone who just barely knows her, should know those jokes.
It was just Roxy, which, I mean, if we go over across the table to Alyssa, that's basically what Alyssa was doing. But
Alyssa was hysterical.
Alyssa committed to it, and she was funny with it, which, I mean, is what got Roxy through on her season Snatch Game with Tamar.
And the rules for Snatch Game are just you have to make Ru laugh.
Just make them laugh.
And Alyssa did that.
Alyssa did that. But Alyssa, I mean, she had the look down pat.
She was perfect.
You know, she did just regurgitate lines, but she did them with the right tone, the right voice. And then when it mattered, she managed to give a off-the-cuff line when Ru was like, where have you been? The Snatch Game. Like, she managed to do it. I don't think Roxy is ever going to actually do well in a Snatch Game type setting if she's really pushed to it.
Yeah.
She would have done fine with Sofia Vergara because she would have just done her
herself.
Roxy screaming in a Spanish accent.
Yeah. Who was your favorite in the Snatch Game?
Alaska. hands down Alaska.
She was amazing.
She had the look. She had the
She
styling.
was gorgeous, by the way.
She looked beautiful.
That makeup should be Alaska's regular face, because that was stunning.
Alaska just looked gorgeous. Everything about it was perfect. Like, it was quintessential.
Yeah. And it made me interested. It made me interested in who Mae West was. And I feel like that's what Snatch Game should do.
You know, and I think that's something that started in Jinx's season, actually, is bringing that idea of it's somebody you don't know to the forefront of the current culture with what she did with Little Edie. And I think Jinx really set that standard.
And Dayla did that too.
And then Dayla with Dame Maggie Smith. And I think that Rue really likes that. Alaska's Mae West, like Jinx's Little Edie, was an accurate version of that person. It was an actual character, accurate, realistic, with the voice, with the mannerisms, and it was still funny. And
heightened.
It was heightened, and it was genius. It was genius, and she did all the right things, like RuPaul said. Like, she took all the little phrases that Mae West was famous for, and she, you know,
perverting them.
She perverted them.
Making them Alaska.
She took them from 1930s, 40s innuendo all the way into 2016 innuendo and made it hilarious, and then tastefully just took the one right over the edge to the full-on dirty joke. I love Alaska.
Special shout out to Katya, because she was hysterical. And I don't think she was so much playing Bjork so much as she was playing her Katya character. And I mean, there were definitely some moments where I was like, okay, I could feasibly see Bjork saying this, but this was definitely like Katya. And I think that's what made it so successful, is that Katya's personality is very on par. Is you listen to Bjork talk and it's just very non sequitur, and it's just like, where did that come from? Why did you say this? And it was so funny, and the bubbles that she kept blowing the whole time, it was great.
I think the interesting thing about Bjork is that, and Katya's Bjork is like, Alaska's Mae West was like a very accurate portrayal of the character, heightened to a comedic level. Katya's was a drag version of Bjork in a way. You know, where it's like, this is nothing like the real Bjork in a lot of ways, and yet it is, because Bjork is so out there that you never know what's gonna happen. And it was two very interesting. It was
like Kennedy's Little Richard.
Yes.
And Ginger's Adele.
Yes.
It was like that.
It was, I mean, right there next to each other, you had the two top examples of how to do a Snatch Game character. Either you are totally accurate and you just take it that extra level, like Little Edie with Jinx, like Cher with Chad, or you go for a total caricature of who that person is.
Like Maggie Smith.
Like Dame Maggie Smith, like Adele, like
Little Richard.
Little Richard. Like, it's two prime examples, and that's exactly what All Stars is all about, is showing you the best ways to do things. And I was very impressed with both of them, and the only thing I would have liked from Katya was a little more of this voice. I'm also going to give a shout out to Fifi.
Fifi was very funny.
I think Fifi was very funny.
This is not the first time that somebody's wanted to do the Long Island medium, because we had Miss Fame who was thinking about doing her. I know that Sasha Bell had mentioned that she was going to do her. She had made it that far. We had several people throughout Drag Race history that are like, I'm going to do her, and never got to.
Long Island medium.
This was the way to do it.
It was, and it was the way that Jaden should have done her Raven.
Yeah.
Where you have a bit that you're doing, but you shake it up every time. Because you can't go every time. And Fifi was very intelligent with her Long Island medium. The whole opening bit was very funny. Like, I'm thinking, I have a day that's coming into my head. It's in December. December 25th. Does that day mean anything to you? Okay, I'm sensing you got a gift.
I have a gift.
I have a gift. Like, it was.
And then with the
perfect.
phone, it was so intelligent, because it wasn't like she was sitting there like, okay, tell me the answer. Okay, and then hung up. It was just like she kept like playing with it and listening and then writing down the answers, and she was very clever. It was a very good Snatch Game.
It wasn't, top 10 necessarily, but it was still funny enough that it made me laugh.
And it was very redeeming from her season.
It was extremely redeeming from make it twirl, make it twirl, make it twirl, make it twirl.
So this runway was a latex themed runway. Ooh. I just want to say that I was most disappointed with Ginger's, because that was clearly not latex.
It was probably pleather. Here's the thing now, Ginger is a big girl, and sometimes it can be, latex it's rubber. You have to powder yourself up. You have to shimmy your way into it. It's not kind. It's not forgiving. It is very difficult to put on. Like, so, I mean...
And then my other least favorite was Fifi's. I didn't get the whole rubber ducky thing. I don't know.
She's a cosplay queen. It's all costume.
It was boring.
Honestly, wasn't overly fond of Roxy's either.
I loved Roxy's. I thought her body looked amazing.
Her body looked amazing, but I mean, it looked like something I've seen her in before.
I thought it looked like Alaska's outfit from her makeover challenge.
Yeah, kind
My
of.
problem with Roxy's was that you could see the corset underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I'm all about exposed corsets. And I don't like seeing corsets underneath garments. It's like seeing underwear. I don't like it. So like if I can see your corset puckering through your outfit, it kind of takes me out of the illusion. I would rather see that corset over the outfit.
It wasn't anything like new and exciting.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, same with Tatiana's, to be perfectly honest, which wasn't even Tatiana's dress. It was...
Okay, so let's talk about
Adora's.
Tatiana's dress. Adora perfectly nailed it, that if they didn't like her first runway, they weren't going to like anything else that she wore. She let Tatiana use that outfit, which was basically Katya's intro outfit. Can we just talk about
In
that
black.
too? In black. And they ripped that outfit to shreds. And it's exactly what Adora said would happen. Is that they weren't going to like her stuff, and they didn't.
At least Adora can say, like, well, it's not personal. They didn't even know it was mine necessarily.
That's true.
If you're gonna do a latex runway, it needs to be something I haven't already seen 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be something that's really cool and edgy. Like Detox's girl with the pearl necklace, earring, fantasy.
That was my favorite outfit.
Like Alaska's edgy Blade Runner thing. Detox is all neon, fantasy, 80s business realness. And her thing was like this
National Geographic.
Girl with the pearl earring, Tudor.
It was
insanity. It was great. And then the same with Alaska. She did like the sleek hair. She did the tight, like fitted thing. Like so against what her current Alaska brand is.
Ina
Garten,
Ina
biological
Garten.
woman, chef, star of the Food Network.
I loved Katya's dress so much. That
Yes.
bathing suit, and it was such an, I don't know if it was intentional or non-intentional, throwback to her episode 2 outfit. Somebody on Tumblr said that was her Alola form of her episode 2 outfit from season 7. Because it was the same color scheme, same type of idea with like the flowers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So cute. And even her second outfit matched it perfectly. Katya was my winner for this one because it was so different and it was colorful. I love colors. I love big concepts, and I thought her runway walk was so fun with her swimming down the runway.
Yes, I thought Katya did amazing, and I thought it was very different for Katya, and yet so on brand for her, because it was like, oh wow, skin tight, wiggle woggle type of outfit, but then it was like, but she's fucking swimming on the runway, like, it was good.
It's genius.
I do think Alaska was my winner all around, though. She did not have a single clunker.
Alaska had my favorite Snatch Game, and Katya had my favorite runway. I feel like both of them deserved that win.
I think Alaska's was my favorite because it was so different for Alaska.
Also, I don't know if any of these girls brought extra outfits, for each runway, but I thought it was really funny that our resident mermaid, Adora, left the competition, and then we have all these mermaid-style dresses hitting the runway that exact same episode. It was very fun to me.
Katya and Alaska are declared the winners with Fifi in 3rd place.
And they lip sync to Freak Out, which this was
Freak
the
Out.
perfect type of song for Katya to slay. She could have done all of her tricks, and I felt like midway through the lip sync, I just kind of could see it in Katya's eyes that she was like, you know what? I don't want this responsibility. I don't want to be the one that has to send one of these girls home and be the bad guy. So I'm not going to. I'm gonna step away from this and I'm just gonna have fun, but I'm not gonna win this, because she could have. Right when it got to there were several moments where I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't Katya do her Katya thing? She was in a jumpsuit and jellies. She could have. And she said in her reflections, that very thing is that she didn't want to be the one to send Tatiana home. And there's no desperation to stay.
Yeah, she said there's no, you're not lip syncing to stay, you're lip syncing to win. She said she didn't want to have the responsibility of sending Katya home. And she also said, she doesn't want to be that queen who just pulls out a shimmy and a flip every time she has to do something. Especially since her literal talent the last week was doing gymnastics.
Totally.
She doesn't want to rely on that. And I think just in general, if you look at Katya at all, she jokes about being a competitive bitch and she jokes about sending the other girls home. I don't think that's in Katya's nature.
No.
She's not a cutthroat person at all. And you could definitely see that in her season. I mean, she's never going to be the type to advance by hurting somebody else. That's just not who she is as a queen. At least not the queen that she's presented to us in media. And so I think that's going to be a really interesting thing for Katya in the future.
I think if it ever gets...
things get harder.
Yeah. I think if it ever gets to the moment where, like, Katya is in the top with somebody else and Ginger's in the bottom 3, Katya's gonna fucking win that lip sync to make sure that Ginger does not go home, you know? And I feel like, as much as you want to say, like, oh, Tatiana did the worst, Alaska sent home somebody who was not her friend. And that's what it boils down to. And it's exactly what Tatiana said would happen, is that alliances are gonna form and people are going to say, I'm not gonna send this person home because I'm friends with them. So my hope is that Tatiana gets to come back into the competition and send home Roxy.
Katya pretty much threw the lip sync.
Yeah. She admitted it.
She admitted it. Alaska won, and I mean, rightly so. Alaska did turn it out.
Cut up her fucking dress.
She fucking cut herself out of her dress, and it was hot.
It was.
And she won, and she chose to send home Tatiana. Now, a lot of people are saying she chose friendship over anything else. And, I mean, I did think that Roxy was genuinely wretched.
Yeah.
Genuinely wretched.
In both aspects of the competition.
In both aspects. I do think that, given the judges' critiques, I thought Tatiana did do worse on the runway.
Totally.
Because at least Roxy's, I didn't care for it, but at least it did show effort. Because goddamn, to get that wig styled and on your head without snapping your damn neck, to get into that giant dress with your hip padding and still look that sickening, like, that probably took her, I'm going to say, at least an hour and some Crisco butter.
And that Tatiana didn't even use her own outfit. It wasn't even hers. So, I mean, I understand why she went home based off of what the girls had promised each other. But, I mean, I would have rather seen what Tatiana can do because we know that Roxy is capable of so much. We've seen her succeed in season 5, and she just did not hit any of the marks this time around. I don't know.
And Tatiana proved very early on that she was somebody to be nervous about.
Yeah.
And yeah, she failed at the Snatch Game. I think for Tatiana, I think it was a combination of, you know, just having been out of the game for a while, choosing a character that you have to be very on top of, more so than Brittany, and the fact that Raven and Jujubee were both sitting right there. I think it was a combination of a lot of things that just tripped her up, and I don't think that's fair, but that's the way the game goes. Mm-hmm. But somebody's got to do badly. Mm-hmm. Somebody's got to fail. And I mean, and I think the thing is also, like, it's All-Stars, and it's like when everybody's super, no one is. And that's the thing. They're all really good.
Yeah.
So even something that maybe would have been passing muster on their own season or would have even killed on their season, it's not going to look as... You know, it's not going to be as dazzling of a star next to everyone else.
So I'm going to take it that your MVP this episode was Alaska.
Just hands down. Alaska did no wrong for me this episode.
And my MVP this episode was definitely Katya.
And I love Katya. I want them both.
I mean, and a special shout out to Alyssa because her outfit was so fun. Her Snatch Game was so fun. Like, and she's really redeemed herself from her season. And it's quintessential Alyssa Edwards from what we've seen on Alyssa's Secret. I'm so happy with what she's bringing to this competition so far.
Yeah, and I mean, I do want to talk about Alyssa a little bit because we've been talking about everyone else, but I mean, damn, like, she turned it out. Like, yes, the thing I said was she was literally just regurgitating lines from the movie, but she was committed to them. It was funny. It was, I mean, it was very Stacey Lane Matthews, Monique and Precious. Mm-hmm. You know, and so it didn't require a lot of in the moment thought, which actually though, I don't know if she was looking at it this way, but was possibly very quite intelligent on her behalf because she knows that she's not good at doing the off the cusp, like, did you really kiss a girl?
Rue, never.
Rue, never. So I think like her strategy was to just have all those quotes and just throw them out and just be non sequitur and inane and commit to it.
It's like what Laganja was trying to do, but just did not succeed very well in her Snatch Game.
Yeah, and it worked for Alyssa, and she killed it. And I do actually have to give her a shout out for her runway because I actually think her runway might have been my favorite.
Kind of wrapping it all up, I just want to say that I'm very worried for Ginger because she is fading in the background for me, and that is never something I ever thought with Ginger. But Jessie kind of brought it up perfectly, is that Ginger was such a big personality in a season that didn't have a lot of really big personalities. They had very nice personalities, but not big ones. And so Ginger really was shining during that whole season. Now she's in a season where people are on par with her. And she's just fading in the background for me. And like, Helen Keller, I don't see her.
I wouldn't have thought that Tatiana was going to go home.
I would have never thought she was going to go home this soon.
And we don't know what's going on because she got the same canned message that Coco did. So who knows what's going on, because even though they got this message, they still had to pack up and go. And there's just something's afoot, and Ru's got something else planned. And
either there's a side competition, or they're gonna come back a la the makeover challenge, and it'll be like one of them will win, and then whoever wins gets to stay and then send somebody home who's already still in the competition.
If Tatiana's gone for a while, comes back, and then knocks out somebody else, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they are all stars, you know, and it's a little bit different this time. It's not like a normal season where it's you have to keep passing the dungeons to reach, you know, the princess at the end. They're already proven that they can do these things, you know, and they've already shown in their work outside of the show that they're good at these things. Now it's just playing the game.
Yeah. So do you guys agree with the elimination this week? Who would you have rather seen? If you do not, what do you think about these messages that the girls have been getting? And who are you hoping goes home next week? I would low-key not even be upset if Ginger went home just because she's disappearing for me. But next episode is supposed to be a lip sync episode, and I don't imagine that's going to happen. I don't see Fifi doing very well in the next one because she's more of a live performer, and because Fifi has proven that she's not the most inspiring lip syncer. So I'd be worried about her.
It's all completely up in the air because people you think are going to do well at something don't. People you don't think are going to do well do. And it's just, all bets are off for All Stars this season. And I like it.
So thank you so much for watching this episode of The Victory Lab. We will see you all again next week. Sometime. I don't know when.
We don't know. Life's busy.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you all again next week, whether you want us to or not.
See you later. Kiss these nude lips goodbye. Terrifying.